Thank you, Albert. Thank you, everybody, for letting me host this tremendous event and experiencing the warmth, the faith, also the heaviness of lives that we all share here today in these times. It's really been a privilege to sitting here, listening to you, the wonderful music, the political speeches, the prayers and everything. And it's taken me back to when I, as a quite young man, visited Israel for the very first time in a trip very similar to what Max told you about earlier on. I went to Sderot, and for the first time of my life, I touched a rocket that had been shot off, trying to aim a kindergarten, unsuccessfully, luckily. I went to Haifa. I went all around the country, and of course, I came to Jerusalem. And at that time, I think I was 20, 21 maybe, I was I would say, dedicated supporter of Israel, for Israel being the only country in the Middle East defending the fundamental rule of law, democracy, equality of the sexes, and all these matters that we share. But when I came to Jerusalem, something changed. My sympathy and dedication for Israel wasn't anymore just of an intellectual nature in the support of common ways of ruling our countries. It went from my mind to my heart, walking in the streets of David, of Solomon, of Jesus Christ, walking the Via Dolorosa, knowing that there were thousands and thousands of years of shared history, destiny. It was so much more than democracy and rule of law. I felt that I, as a Dane, had a shared identity with all Jews around the world. And therefore, I cannot agree with you on the claim for Jews to return to Israel. I want Denmark to be a proud country with a strong and growing Jewish population. I want Europe to turn the development that we are seeing now, where Jews are fleeing not only from Denmark, but from Germany, from France, from all over the western part of the continent. And I want them to return knowing that we, the politicians, whether in opposition or government, can guarantee them that this country will be your home country as well. Because without the Judeo part of identity, of culture, we cannot truly be Danish either. We are not only Christians, we are all a part of the same history, civilization, and way of thinking. Judeo-Christianity together. One of your wonderful Knesset members quoted Churchill earlier on, and I wish to bring, he's one of my favorites, so I want to, just a brief quote as well. He said that history would be kind to him because he intended to write it himself. And so he did. I mean, only his remembrance of the Second World War is 6 heavy books. So he indeed wrote the history himself. And maybe therefore, but also for other reasons, he stands, I think, for many Danes and, well, many Democrats as a true hero. But we have a problem writing the history of our own lives, of our own days, of today, in a way which is credible, which is true, so that people here in Denmark, in Sweden, in Europe, all over the world understand what's actually going on in Israel, because the media is dominated by the other side. And I must tell you that that's the natural course of course, many Jews taking the consequence of leaving our countries, that while leaving, other people have come here. We have hundreds of thousands of Muslims in Denmark, many of them sharing our values and are welcomed citizens. But every day, our kids in kindergarten, in schools, in television, will be faced only by the Palestinian propaganda side. Never being told the stories that we've heard here, so warm and so courageously being told, that we need to tell. we need to do, as Churchill said, to tell history as we see it, because if not, then we will lose the storytelling. So what we need, and it's my prayer for today maybe, is that in some way we will have a Jewish CNN. A Jewish CNN, an Israeli CNN. All Danes will look at BBC or CNN or whatever occasionally to get another perspective. But if we had the true message, and I think it's never been cheaper to do so, communicating directly the stories that we heard Max telling, we heard the Knesset members telling, we heard all the speakers before me telling so heartbreakingly that can never be overcome, even by 5 or 10 or how many Palestinian children in the kindergarten. That will be the message directly to the hearts, but we need to facilitate it. Danes, as you have heard, have a strong commitment to the Jewish population. I'm proud of having been Dane now for 8 generations, even though some might say, what is that last name, Messerschmidt? Isn't that, historically a bit of burden? When I served in the European Parliament, all the British colleagues called me Spitfire, so if you're more comfortable with that, it's all right with me. But we need to make sure that the beautiful messages that have been told here today are brought out to the entire society, so that people know, because from knowing, there's such a little way to acting, and we need to turn Europe back as a partner, as an ally, as a friend of Israel. That's my dedication, that's my prayer. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me host the event. It's really been an honor.